To jump into this book because there are really two aspects to it. There's a whole sort of comic aspect to it, and there's a dramatic aspect to it. And I've tried to find a section that gives some elements of both. It's essentially the Terraphiles are a kind of Earth recreation group. They sort of recreate. There are only about 5 old pulp magazines, basically British pulp magazines, that they've recreated the whole of Earth civilization from, because that's the only things that have survived. And they play this game, which is a little bit like cricket and a little bit like archery. It's got the aspects of both, in which you have a whack-it, which is a bat, a what's-it, which is a target, and you shoot. The object is to shoot and hit the target, and the guy with the bat is supposed to hit the arrows away as best he can, or she can. So this is a team of these guys are actually going through the universe. Actually, they don't get to the multiverse at this point. Or they do a little bit. They've just left behind a planet which they were meant to pick up passengers and deposit passengers on, and the planet's been completely devastated, and they don't know why. And that's about the most explanation I can offer without boring me or you, I think. Also, I've sort of picked out a section to read, but if I start noticing enough people leaving, I'll stop. And if I fall asleep, I'll stop. And if I see enough people falling asleep, I'll stop. So well, I'll go on for as long as seems sensible for all of us. Bingo and Harry were not the only bachelors looking forward to the joys of matrimony. Even W.G. Grace had trimmed her magnificent chin topiary and was eyeing a tall and handsome running fielder, David St. Roberts, who had paid her the compliment of saying she was probably the greatest all-rounder since Miffany Banerjee, the legendary whistling whacker of Haverfordwest, an obscure planet in the Murgatroyd system, since carried off by a powerful pumper and sold for scrap. Elsewhere, the lads of both teams were all taking advantage of Gargantua's many entertainments. I'm sorry, Gargantua is a massive luxury spaceship. Of Gargantua's many entertainments, and were getting along famously. The rival teams were on excellent terms, and the many other passengers, most of whom were travelling to attend the Terraphile Renaissance reenactments, were in various states of happy anticipation. Only one Panglossian remained awake after a week in space. The others had elected for a light cryosleep. The Gargantua was a happy ship again. If space liners could smile, whistle and snap cheerful fingers, then there was no doubt that the massive ship would soon be doing the hoochie-coochie as she slipped magnificently through the star lanes. The Doctor, although frequently turning his thoughts to the various mysteries engaging him, was determined to enjoy himself while he could. He discovered that he had an aptitude for nut-cracking that would almost certainly advance his team's chances in the coming games. His archery skills had been honed, and he was presently concentrating on the subtleties of jousting. The joust was perhaps the hardest aspect of tournamenting, because it involved the iron mule, an extremely hard seat, and a 2-stroke Wasp engine, which was inclined to spray hot oil whenever it got overexcited. He made the most of all these pastimes in the sure knowledge that the nearer they came to Magia, the tougher things were going to get. Even Mr. and Mrs. Banning Cannon were enjoying the trip. The Tycoon had found a bar where he could hobnob with fellow captains of industry, and Mrs. B.C. had found the ship's milliner, whom she considered something more than a mere Diana-in-waiting. She felt a little as Prince Lobkowitz must have felt when he realized he had become Beethoven's patron. She was undoubtedly a patron to genius, Mr. Tony Woney had a splendid way with hats.